provided by Dennis and Sandy Ostrom, who are going to sing you and teach you a new song. Please welcome them.
How you doing, everybody? Hey, so I have some friends, and maybe myself too, who watch the news all the time, and they're just freaked out about Donald Trump all the time, and freak, and missile alarms and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I would run a song this week that we could sing along to. Sandy's going to lead you all, but your words are basically this: change your thoughts, change your life. And yeah. We'll do a first verse just to show you how to go and sing along whenever you feel like it. Awesome. Well, because I turned it down. If you want to live your life in blues, change your thoughts, change your life. Just keep your TV set turned to the news.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
Doesn't matter right or wrong. Yeah, you're going all day long. Yeah. So CNN and Fox, you are excused. Your life, change your mind. That's it. So you hate Trump from here to El Paso.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
You scream every day, he's such a jerk.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
One day you wait to find he's taking over your mind. I just wonder if it's worth the hassle. How about singing about your boss? Who here likes their boss? The state department you call your boss.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
You want to string them up with dental floss.
Change your thoughts, change your
But at
life.
the end of each workday, you go home without your pay. Little fingers what you could toss. Make it just where I can read it. Let's talk about that missile alarm.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
We all thought that we had bought the farm.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
Lots of people saw the light, look at their life and make it right. Maybe that thing did more good than harm. Eugene. This was Easy's my philosophy.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
Life is not trigonometry.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
True, some things are hard, but we hold all the cards. It's a simple question of whether we want to spend our days and nights thinking about people, places, and things and events that we don't like. Are we going to worry day and night about things we can't change?
No.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ, open the door and have some fun. And now we're going to avoid the heat.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
We're going to go and take a seat.
Change your thoughts, change your life.
Thank you, folks.
Please remain standing. And Dr. Libby arrived in the nick of time, so as soon as she's settled, she's going to come up and lead us in our poulet. Yay, you say yay. Thank you, Dennis and Sandy, that was great. Clever.
Morning.
Aloha kakahiaka.
Aloha.
Hana ho! Okay, ma kakao? Aye. Pa! Ma kakao. Aloha, ina kapuna. Kale aloha, ina kapuna. No,
do our opening prayer, I have a couple of announcements. Well, one really important announcement. I had my son paint a beautiful sign that said, "Please wash your coffee cups," but I left it at home. So I'm the sign. Please take the time to take your cups back and keep them under your chairs, because we have lovely volunteers, but they get burned out. So let's be responsible and take care of our center, please. I would so appreciate that. Thank you. All right, I forgot my other announcement. But we also have membership directory applications that need to be filled out for anybody who still wants to. We hope you still want to be a member. And we hope you also want to be in our directory, and we will have the directories for you at our annual meeting in February, thanks to Franny. Yay, Fran. So, fill out one of the pink slips, and if you might have noticed, if you got here a little late, today is Name Tag Sunday. We're going to resume. Every third Sunday will be Name Tag Sunday. We let it slide over the holidays, but we're back. We're disciplined again. So, this is one way we can get to know each other, and we do have a lot of new people coming, which is a blessing. But let's get to know them and be able to know their names. So make it a business. Make it your point to find somebody today that you don't know and introduce yourself. And if you didn't get a chance to, you're new, you didn't get a chance to make a name tag today, we can do one next Name Tag Sunday. Read your bulletin and you'll know when it is. Okay? All right. Please join me in our opening affirmative prayer this morning. And let's take a few deep breaths together and get settled in. Settled in our chairs, settled in our consciousness, settled in spirit. And as we do this, we remember that in truth, Spirit, God, is all there is. And we are each individualized expressions of that one creative intelligence, that one loving power, that one divine givingness that we call God. And we unite in this consciousness right now. We come together as a spiritual ohana to help each other remember that we are God expressing on this plane. So knowing this, I just claim for everybody a beautiful Sunday celebration, as always, where we are enlightened and uplifted by the music, the words, the fellowship, and the sanctuary. And for this, we're very grateful. We know we take it with us into the upcoming week and even beyond. That this teaching, the science of mind, change your thinking, change your thoughts, is what informs us in every minute of every day and helps us to co-create more good and more God for ourselves and for those that we love and those that we don't even know, because it ripples out. We know this is true. I release it to law for absolutely perfect completion as each one here, and I let it be so gratefully, and so it is. All right. Please welcome Shelley Pearson, who will be doing Creative Thought this morning.
We're newbies, and we love the island, we love CSL. We also have a home in Reno where we attend CSL there. And I love the topic, or the title of this section, Creative Thought. And I am a past life and between life regression therapist. So what I'd like to do today is talk about something that may get you thinking creatively today. And today I'm going to share some thoughts on this topic. And that topic is reincarnation. I was born into and raised around a fundamentalist religion, and it was a religion that I started to question as a young teenager, some of their beliefs. And one of their beliefs, like many fundamentalist religions, is the fact that our souls are eternal. Yet, they didn't believe in reincarnation. So I started thinking, as a young teenager, if our souls are eternal and go on forever, why do we only get one chance at this life on earth? And with that one chance, look at the variety of lives that we have. Why do some people have challenging, difficult lives where others have seemingly easier, happier lives? It just didn't make sense to me, and I've always been a very left-brain, logical person. When I learned about reincarnation, it simply made sense to me. What I'd like to do now is share with you 12 points that I've come to believe based on my training as a regression therapist, my research, and of course the experiences with many, many clients that I've had. Number one, our souls are eternal and we're having a human experience. I believe that phrase is pretty common in this arena. Number two, our souls are on a quest to evolve. 3, we must have human experiences in order for our souls to evolve. Because we learn things in this earthly dimension that we're not capable of learning anywhere else. And 4, each of us has a soul guide who is always with us and always guiding us. You may also refer to a soul guide as a spirit guide, a guardian angel, an angel, just that invisible force that you feel is helping you. 5, each lifetime has an intended lesson that we are to work on and learn so that we can help our souls evolve. Examples of some of those lessons would be learning patience, learning tolerance, learning self-love, learning humility and compassion for others. Even standing up for yourself is a lesson to work on. And here's a rather difficult one. Learning forgiveness. Number 6. We never, as a soul, take on a lesson that our soul is not ready to take on. Our soul guides always work with us, our soul, before we incarnate to look at the lessons we've already worked on and determine what are we ready for next. Number 7. Each lifetime with its lesson comes with a set of opportunities to help you work on that lesson. Now those opportunities can also be called challenges, right? So for example, if you choose to work on forgiveness, aren't you going to need a set of opportunities to learn and work on forgiveness? Yeah. And number 8, we as humans have free will. And we can use the free will, and we do, to choose to work on our lesson or to choose not to. It's our free will. We also have free will to listen to our guides and their guidance or not to. Number 9, if we don't completely learn our lesson that we intended to work on, we get to do what I call a do-over. We get to do it all over again. The faces will be different, the opportunities will be different, but it's the same lesson. Number 10, and this is important, a do-over is never, never punishment or retribution for not getting a lesson, because the lessons become more challenging. It often takes many lifetimes to get through a certain lesson, and that's okay. Number 11, as our souls evolve, we take on more and more difficult lessons. A brand new soul will probably not take on forgiveness. There's several things to learn before getting to that point. But again, we never take on a lesson that our souls are not ready to do. And number 12, the final one, when our souls have learned all the lessons that we need to learn, we no longer have to incarnate. Our souls go on and do other work in the soul realm, whether it be a soul guide, a healer, whatever. There's lots of work to do there. So I hope what I've shared with you today gives you some creative things to think about with regard to your life, your challenges and opportunities, and whatever your future holds. And I want to thank Reverend Kathy for giving me the opportunity to do a presentation and workshop on March 11th coming up. And I have flyers in the back if you're interested. Mahalo.
I think that's going to be really interesting, so I hope a lot of you will join us for that. And if you don't know Shelley and Glenn, like they said, they've been here 3 months. They're kind of going back and forth between Reno and here, but we're so glad to have them with us. Right, let's welcome Sandy and Dennis back. Yeah, you got to say something.
I'll see through this one.
There's a new world somewhere they call the promised land, and I'll be there someday if you will hold my hand. I still need you there beside me, no matter what I do, for I know I'll never find another you. There is always someone for each of us, they say, and you'll be my someone forever and a day. But if I should lose your love, dear, I don't know what I'd do, for I know I'd never find another you. It's a long, long journey, so stay by my side. When I walk through the storm, you'll be my guide, be my guide. If they gave me a fortune, my treasure would be small. I could lose it all tomorrow and never mind at all. But if I should lose your love, dear, I don't know what I'd do, for I know I'll never find another you. But if I should lose your love, dear, I don't know what I'd do, for I know I'll never find another you. Another you. Another you.
Thanks for singing along.
You can tell what era most of us are from. I love that song. I haven't heard that song in forever. I just wanted to take a moment, too, before we introduce our speaker, to acknowledge Susanna, who comes every It is. It's beautiful. It adds so much to our Sunday service. Appreciate all of our volunteers. Okay, so speaking of Anaho, our speaker got such great feedback, such adoration, that we had to ask him back immediately. And we're so glad he was able to be here for us. Please help me welcome Adam Lightplate.
Thank you. Here we go again. That was beautiful music, Sandy and Dennis. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Racing us, especially that first song fit in perfect with the theme today. Sunny looking good there. And I gotta say, I almost wore my purple sequined hat today. That would have been so embarrassing. So, no. I do wear it. I do. Okay, only a couple minutes, then I'll get it. Cool stole and everything. Okay, so. I had to study for this one. I couldn't just get by on glib platitudes like I usually do. They actually have a theme for this month, the first 4 chapters in the Science of Mind book.
We have a theme every month.
Every month. Well, I'm learning, aren't I? And, of course, I got it right here. Let's see. Push the buttons, put in the top secret passcode. And the chapter that I got is What It Does. And we've been talking about it all month. And for anybody that wasn't here, the previous ones, just to bring us up to date, It was a Stephen King novel. First time around was Tim Curry, and then some other guy was, okay, never mind. I said I was going to get serious, didn't I? Okay. So, they gave me the theme, What It Does, and I'm an improv guy, so I thought, sure, bring it on. I'll just, read the chapter and riff on that. And it's pretty thick. Ernie's got a lot to say, so I'm going to read a lot of quotes out of the book in a Morgan Freeman voice, so you'll think I really know what I'm talking about. So the first part I want to talk about, does the hat work, really?
Yeah.
It's you. It's me. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay. So, we call ourselves the Center for Spiritual Living now, but previously we were Science of Mind and Religious Science, which is kind of interesting, mixing science with religion. Some people see a conflict. I don't really, because I think science is the how and spirituality is the why and what it all means. But the question comes to mind, can we actually be scientific about religion? Because science is a process where they come up with a hypothesis and then you do a bunch of testing and then you prove that it's absolutely factual. So in spirituality, it's not super direct that we can just prove it scientifically. However, science is that you have a hypothesis, like a hypothesis that my thoughts influence my reality. And then you look at the results. And I can't just magically say, oh, I want that chair to levitate. Yeah, I'll work on that. But if you look at the long-term results, is my life a reflection of my thoughts? Then we can say scientifically, yes, this proves out. This is the way it works. All right, so some of the quotes here, I marked them. I may be a little nonlinear here, but some of the things that really stuck with me when I looked at the chapter. It has been said that we can only know God only insofar as we become God. So this is all about the theme of, like Dennis said, change your thoughts, change your mind. That all runs together. And this was really interesting. He says when we stand in the light, and that, I perked up because that's what we do. We stand in the light at the end of the thing. But we're standing in the light to supplement the light. But he points out that also when we stand in the light, we cast a shadow across the pathway of our own experience. And Emerson advised that we get our own bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits. Bloated nothingness. That was our band back in college, wasn't it, Dennis? The Bloated Nothingness?
That was bass player.
Yeah, it was kind of emo goth, This is like 40 years ago, so we had this song, I'm okay, you're okay, the rest of them are screwed up. Things like that. We were still working out the details. But we are, I don't know, instead of a shadow, casting a shadow, let's say we're a lens. We're the focus. The light, the infinite light shines through us, and we're an individual expression of that light. So as it shines through us, we make a specific difference out in the world. And the tricky thing is we try to learn how to use the power of attraction or use our power of our thoughts to shape our reality or get in sync with reality and all of that. The intelligence by and through which we perceive that there is a spiritual presence and an infinite mind in the universe constitutes our receptivity to it and decides its flow through us. Skipping ahead, is the nature of the universe to give us what we are able to take. It cannot give us more. It is given all, and we have not yet accepted the greater gift. So I think what it's saying is, we'll get to that in a minute. Sometimes I find myself saying, I'm not very good at manifestation. Anybody said that? I just don't have this manifestation thing down. And yet the gotcha is that we're always manifesting. It's kind of like a radio station. It's not like sometimes the transmitter's on, sometimes the transmitter's off. We're a 24-hour radio station that's broadcasting 24 hours a day. So what's on our playlist? And if you studied our symbol at all, the little V, this thing here, it's got the 3 layers, and it's 3 different natures of God. God's infinite, so it's all the same stuff, but it kind of divides it into the word or the thought that goes through the mind, or the impersonal manifestation, or the Play-Doh, or whatever you want to call it, and the end result is the physical world. So it's that condensing into form. And the way that I really started understanding it is when somebody said seed, soil, and plant. So on the top layer is the seed, and we put that into the soil, the impersonal manifestation engine, and we get the plant. We get the end result at the bottom. Now the soil doesn't really care what you plant in it. If you plant a flower, you're going to get a flower. You plant a weed, you're going to get a weed. You can't go, why did the soil give me a weed? Well, that was what got put into the soil, into that manifestation engine. And there's a really interesting quote somebody said, I noticed on the videos, that a lot of people put more thought into picking their produce than they do picking the thoughts that they're going to keep in their mind. We thump the melon or the pineapple, and is this ripe, or does this have any spots on it? But then we read on Facebook that Trump and Bigfoot are putting fluoride in the chemtrails, and we go, my God, I'm shocked. Let me repost this and spread that thought all around. So any thought, where there's all this argument about false news. And the reason that it's big, and the reason that false news is working for some people, is that what we strongly believe we manifest, because we act accordingly. And even if it's not true to begin with, if enough people act accordingly and act as if that's the truth, then everything is revolving around the acceptance that that is the truth. And I think I mentioned before the quote that's attributed to different Native American cultures or different indigenous cultures. Doesn't really matter which one. I think it was Native American. It's usually the way I hear it. And the elder says to the young one, there's 2 wolves that are fighting, and they're always fighting. And one of those wolves is darkness and greed and anger and selfishness, and the other wolf is all the good qualities, the good side of the force, the loving, the caring, the supportive. And those 2 wolves are always like yin yang. They're always going around chasing each other's tail and in that constant conflict. And of course the student, the disciple says, well, which one wins? And the wise elder says, the one that you feed. The one that we feed with our thoughts. So, see what else we have here. And this is also from 3rd chapter, Science of Mind, what it is. In an intelligent study of the teachings of Science of Mind, we come to understand that all is love, and yet all is law. Love rules through law. Love is the divine givingness. Law is the way. Love is spontaneous. Law is impersonal. We should study the nature of reality with this in mind. In this way, we shall avoid 2 grave mistakes, either viewing life as made up only of mechanical laws, or viewing it as made up of only of spontaneous actions, irrespective of law and order. As we gain a broader viewpoint, we see that life must contain 2 fundamental characteristics. We shall see that there is an infinite spirit operating through an infinite and immutable law in this cosmos and not chaos, finds an eternal existence in reality. Love points the way, and law makes the way possible. We can never completely fathom the infinite mind. We shall always be discovering new lands. Consequently, evolution is the internal unfoldment of the more yet to be. Since an understanding of law, I'm skipping around just for the parts that jumped out at me. Since an understanding of law must pass first through our conscious mind before we make use of it, it follows that with all our getting, we should get understanding. Should we wish to know a certain truth, we should state that this truth is already known in mind, and that statement will be true. But the overmind, big capital letters, must be accepted in our mind before we can understand it. How then are we to accomplish the desired result? By stating and feeling that our mind knows the truth about the thing we desire to know. In this way, we draw the infinite mind into our mentalities for definite knowledge of some particular good. Our thoughts and conscious receptivity differentiate this universal possibility by drawing it to our minds and causing it to flow into particular channels through the conscious activity of our different faiths. One state of consciousness will differentiate one kind of result. Another mental state is a different manifestation. So it's the same light shining through all of us, but we all have our background and our culture and our spirituality and our own experiences. So we, like I said with the lens, we focus that light in our own special way. And that's why they're here. That's why there's 7 billion of us instead of just one of us, because one of us got kind of boring. Yeah, exactly. There we were, all being one, and we said, let's play with ourselves and let's be 7 billion of us and make it much more interesting. And so what we've got here is, because it responds to our thoughts and how much our thoughts can, how much our consciousness can embrace the big thought that we want to embody, I kind of feel like it's the hologram, like the holodeck in Star Trek. You know, we're walking through this hologram and we're programming it as it goes. So it's just interactive. It's like an RPG, a role-playing game. You know, a lot of people are into the World of Warcraft and different games where you're an orc or a troll or a healer and you go through all the world and you do all this stuff. So you're influencing your world, but you have control over it. It's a big game. It's a big hologram that we're in, interacting with each other. And that trick is knowing that we can have it, knowing that we're not a victim of it, but that we can, if we can comprehend it, if we can move our thought. And that's why in our spiritual prayer treatment, when we first talk about God, the first step of spiritual prayer treatment is, what do you call it? Recognition. Okay, so that's, you know, recognizing the infinite source, and the second step is, hey, I'm part of that whole thing. But when you're giving the qualities to that whole thing, whatever you're treating for, if you're treating for love or a relationship, then it's good to say, oh, I know that the infinite source is this huge, wonderful, loving, kind thing. And if you're, you know, working on prosperity or money, you can give those qualities to the infinite. I know the infinite is abundant and has everything I need. So as we expand our mind to believe that that's possible, then we create that space. And, okay, let's see. Mental work is definite. Each state of thought taps the same principle. Each uses the same law. It is inspired by the same spirit, but each draws forth a different result. See, I put the color of quotes, and when it went through Google Books and onto the iPad, it changed colors. So. Read the blue quotes. Okay, so we'll just call it Tarot. We'll just spin the wheel and see what we get here. The part that I really want to cover about, to reinforce what we're saying about that, is, it says here, in an iron foundry, the pig iron is thrown into a great furnace and melted. That which was solid becomes liquid and then poured into molds which are fashioned in different shapes. The iron itself neither knows nor cares what particular form it takes. It is formless, ready to take any form supplied. If we did not place it in the proper molds, the liquid would assume no particular form. So even if we know we're filled with a beautiful infinite source and it's all around us, it's just kind of spilled there on the floor unless we create a mold with our mind of what we want. We can make any mold we want. And as Janelle pointed out to me this morning when I was talking about it, sometimes you got to give up that old mold. You got to release that old mold that you're used to and welcome in the new mold. Jesus said you can't put new wine in old wineskins. Same kind of thing. Make space for the new form. This is the way in dealing with the subtle energy of spirit, but the molds are made in our own subjective minds through conscious and specific thought, purpose, and direction. We should be very careful not to think that because we make the mold, we must create the substance. It already exists. It is part of life in which we live, a part of the universal energy. Definite molds or concepts decide the shape that is to be created from the general liquid. And this should prove to us that there is a specific technique in mental treatment which we should not overlook. If we wish a certain good, we must instill in our own minds a realization of this specific good, and then, as this idea is the mold we place in mind, it will be filled by the substance necessary for the complete manifestation of this good in our lives. And I have had some background in affirmations. I don't do them nearly as much as I wish I did, but I've had great results with them, and I think they're really good, especially if you find yourself always stuck on a particular thought, that I can't have enough, or I don't deserve it, or people always do this to me, or it's a cruel world, or any negative thought that just keeps coming around and you can't quite shake it. You just got to turn that thing totally inside out and affirm exactly the opposite, even if it's a little hard to believe. Even if, it's that I'm a millionaire, I'm incredibly abundant. If that's a little hard to accept, just keep believing it and keep trying it until it begins to get in there. And sometimes when they're really hard to accept, there's ways to trick your mind. Like sometimes I just can't quite go to the full positive thought. My mind says, no, that's not true. So you can kind of ease your way into it with little things like, I'm willing to believe that I can have an infinite source of abundance. I'm willing to consider the possibility that that could come my way. And that way you're opening the door a little bit. And each time I'm willing, that could be. I'm open to that. And then more and more of that can get in each time. And there's 4 P's, four things that start with P that are very important to remember when you're affirming anything. And affirmation is also the 3rd step of spiritual mind treatment. After you go, I know there's an infinite source, I know I'm connected to that infinite source, knowing I'm connected to infinite source, by golly, I would like such and such in your life. So the 3rd step is the affirmation, the real meat of the spiritual mind treatment. And there's 4 P's, and a lot of times I can only remember 3 of them. But I looked them up on the internet, I've got all 4 here. All right. So there's platitudes, perspective, placebos. No. None of those. But if you believe those, that proved the point about placebos. Now, the first P is personal. Whatever you're affirming, make it personal. I know God's abundant and good to those people out there. No, God, I am one with the source. So make it personal. Whatever you're affirming, make sure it's real. It's in your hand. It's not out there somewhere, but it's part of you, and it's about you, because you're in charge. You're the manifestation engine for your reality. You're programming your hologram. Everybody else will take care of their hologram if they want. So you're only responsible for programming what you're seeing through your view screen, because that's why you're in this biocomputer holographic whatever we are. Okay. And the second thing is make it powerful, because if it's not powerful, they've shown that you remember things if you're passionate about them. It sticks in your mind. When I was a kid, when I first heard Cheech and Chong, I was in theater and I had to memorize the lines, and I'd study the scripts, and eventually I could memorize the script. And when I heard Cheech and Chong's albums, I laughed so hard that in 3 listenings, I could do them verbatim. It just locked in my brain because I loved it so much and it cracked me up and I wanted to tell my friends. And that showed me that when you're thrilled about something, when you're laughing or passionate and there's deep emotion to it. I mean, we remember the things that either hurt us or inspired us. We don't remember, chopping the vegetables 3 weeks ago, but we remember when we cut our finger, it's like, ah, so there's a little more drama there. So when you're affirming, make sure it's passionate, make sure it's powerful for you, that it's got some juices you up. Another P is present tense. Because if we say, I know money's coming my way, or I know someday I'll be rich, we're still affirming that we're separated from it by time. So as you think the good thoughts for yourself, it's in the present tense, and that's why we affirm that we know that we are abundant in this moment. We know we are surrounded by love in this moment. We know that it is ours to be whole and healthy and alive in this instant. And of course, positivity. If you're trying to lose weight and you go, I know that I'm losing weight. There's a lot of people say that the mind doesn't hear the negative; they just hear the words. So if you go, I'm losing weight, the mind just hears weight, and it expands what you heard. So you can say, I'm lightening up. So always use it in positive terms. Don't go, like fighting war. That's the craziest thing, fighting against war. You're still fighting. So stand for peace, lovingly embrace peace. Don't fight against the conflict. I'm fighting against conflict. Well, that's definitely going to keep it going. Okay, let's see. What else is there? Talked so long.
The other P's.
What
are the other P's?
You did all these.
What's the last one?
That was 4.
Of the what?
Tell us.
Oh, the P's, yes. Personal, powerful, present tense, and positive. Worded in the positive. Okay. And he also says, watch out, Ernest Holmes also says, watch out for hope. A lot of times we go, well, I certainly hope that works. He says, hope is good. It's better than despair, but it is a subtle illusion and an unconscious compromise that has no part in an effective mental treatment. We should say to doubt, where did you come from? Who is your father? Etc. You have no place in my mind. Get out. I know that all the faith within me now neutralizes all doubt. This is the scientific use of a mental statement. There must be no compromise with the consciousness. I thought that was interesting. Okay, and I just want to tell a little story, personal story, but I want to encourage all of you, if you ever, if it's hard to remember the faith, or you're buying into the illusion and all the daily mishigas or drama, the Maya, or whatever you want to call it, that you go through, I think we all have had a few miracles in our life. We've all had a few of those things that are just way beyond coincidence. And I encourage you to remember those. If you're feeling weak, say, well, you know what, there was that time where something happened and I just know gods and angels were guiding it, because it was just too perfect to be random chance. And I just had one that kind of blew me away, so I just wanted to share this. This is several years ago. I was living in a little town on the California coast, kind of far from everything. And I was really jonesing to see a movie I love called Creator, if you've ever seen it, where Peter O'Toole is this wacky scientist talking about the big picture and stuff, and this guy talks this girl out of a coma and talks to her in her coma, trying to bring her back to this world. And it just always touched my heart. I just really I hadn't seen it for a few years, and this is before Netflix, and there were no rental stores handy to get in, and I just really wanted to buy it. So I had this fantasy that I was going to find this 20-year-old movie at the store. So I drive 40 miles to a Walmart in Atascadero going, oh, bet they just have it on the counter, and all this creative thought, and I can't find it anywhere. And I did that for a couple of weeks and looked everywhere. Somewhere is this movie Creator. Somebody who's got it on sale. Somebody who wants to unload that DVD. And looked around for 2 or 3 weeks, not much. I'm in a town that you may have heard of called Morro Bay, a little tiny town, beautiful little tourist town. And there's a little antique store. It's not even a secondhand store, it's an antique store. And on the counter, they've got a little basket. And in that basket are a few CDs and one DVD. And in a clear plastic case is a DVD that just has a little sticker written on it, creator. I'm like, really? Are you kidding me? In this entire store, which doesn't sell DVDs or CDs, there's a basket with a few CDs, one DVD is creator. And I still have that somewhere in storage. That to me is just, that's just magic. It's like, okay, there, I held that vision long enough, and sure enough, it polarized or attracted or, you know, reprogrammed the hologram or brought the pieces together or however you want to look at it. So one last quote from Ernie here. No, not my camera. Let's see. No limit to thought. This is the last little paragraph in this section. When we think something happens to thought, the field through which thought operates is infinite. There's no reason to doubt it. No matter how it is approached, to thought there can be no limit. So we will say that it is the nature of being to react in this way. Here and now, we are surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. How much of this infinite good is ours? All of it. Capital letters. He's actually screaming like we do on the internet. How much of this infinite good is ours? All of it. And how much of it may we have to use? And as much of it as we can embody is ours to use. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. That's another great talk, and you have convinced me to maintain my Luddite ways and stick to paper. No high-tech devices for me on my Sunday talks. Thank you so much. All right, I want to call Susan forward right now before we get into our conscious giving, because she wants to share something important with you.
Good morning. Just an update on our Dress Girl Around the World project. For some of you who are new, this is our church service project, and it's an international organization that provides dresses for girls in third world countries. And we have been participating in this project, just a very small group of us actually, for about 7 years, and over that time period, we have made over 1,000 dresses. And they have been sent, the majority to the Philippines, to Cambodia, to India, to Africa. And we always ask for emails, pictures back, so that we know that the dresses have actually been given to the children. And every third Sunday of the month, we ask you to put your hands in your pocket for any small change you may have. And initially, this was simply to help provide us with the things we needed to make the dresses. But what has happened in reality, everybody has been so generous that the year before last, we received $200 in the course of the year. And we used that money to be used in Cambodia. There is a Cambodian church on Oahu, and once a year, a group, and these are people who escaped the Khmer Rouge in the 70s, and every year they go back to Cambodia, they fundraise during the year, and they buy things that people need in the villages that they are aware of the need. And initially he said, well, you know, I don't know that many girls go to university in Cambodia. But he did, he found a girl, and so the $500 went to her, and he realized she needed a laptop computer, and so part of the money went for a laptop computer, and the rest went towards the tuition. And when they do this, they expect the family to contribute, you know, the remainder of the tuition, and that the student gives feedback. And I've got a couple of letters, one from the student and one from Hong Lee. Hong Lee is the leader of the group over in Oahu. So I'll just read, but I'll have to paraphrase a lot of it. The student does speak English, and she's actually going to an English-speaking university in Phnom Penh, which is very interesting. You can check it out on the website. and it's a university that's really very, very well supported by a lot of Western universities. And so this is firstly the letter from Hong Li, who is the leader of the mission that goes from Honolulu. I got a chance to meet Lynn about 3 years ago, as she and a few other volunteers joined our team, going from place to place while we were on mission in Cambodia. Lynn is our choice because in her church, she's a good choice because there have been several American staff and teachers in the church. I understand very well the standard of living in Cambodia is way sub US standard. I chose Lynn for your continued prayer for her college years. Every mission trip, I run into many young and needy students, and I do my best to meet some of the needs. I'm still trying, because God has called me to do some of His work in my motherland. Let me thank you and your ministry in advance for your prayer, Australia. And he's attached some photos of the family. Australian and her family. And then there's a letter from her name is Australian Van, and she really does write very good English. Hello, my name is Australian Van. You can call me Lynn. I'm 18 years old. I just finished my high school. I got level B in my final exam in grade 12. My score is 97. I am now studying at Belty International University in the foundation year in international relations. In my family, I have 2 brothers, and 3 older sisters. My father had diabetes and hepatitis C. He was in the hospital for a week, and then she explains about how sick he was and the cost that they had to pay for his care. And he stayed a long time in the hospital. His condition didn't get any better, and he was in the hospital for a month, and then he died December last month. She says, my father's hospital stay was very costly, but we are very grateful that God had provided everything for us. Thank you so much for everything you have done for me and my family. Although I haven't met you yet, I keep you and your family in my prayers. May God bless you in return for everything you have done for me and my family. Love and blessings, Lynn. Thank you.
I really want to thank Susan because she has faithfully spearheaded this project for 6 years. Yeah, and so if any of you are interested in becoming a part of it, please let her know. And also today is 3rd Sunday, so Arthur asked me this morning, is today Change Sunday? I go, yeah. This is where your small change goes. And your huge and gigantically generous contributions go in the big basket. Yeah, if you have the pink slips, Susan, hold it up again. If you have that filled out, you can put those in the basket as well. There's also a box on the back table. Okay, so let's welcome Dennis and Sandy back up. And please repeat with me, if you will, our prosperity affirmation. Divine love, in and through me, blesses and multiplies, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is.
Someone told me, keep it simple, keep it simple. So I'm going to do that. Blackbirds singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. That heck of simplicity. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. You were only waiting for this moment to arrive. You were only waiting for this moment to arrive. To
They just picked this music exactly for me. That's one of my very favorite Beatles songs. Thank you. Beautiful. For those of you who did not get a pink slip, you're not fired from church if you did get a pink slip. But we will have more on next Sunday, and we'll be circulating them until our annual meeting at the end of February to get an accurate membership. And for those of you who wonder what membership is about, we don't beat you up and ask you for huge things. We just ask you to support our center not only in consciousness, but financially. And also this gives us the amount of delegates. This year we had 5 delegates that get to vote in our national elections, international actually, Center for Spiritual Living elections. So it gives us a voice, and we like that. And we appreciate your commitment and your dedication. So let's bless this offering. Let's know together, as Adam said, quoted Dr. Holmes today, love points the way and law makes it possible. So it is our love, it is our generosity, it is our commitment and willingness to give that sets the law in motion and keeps our center thriving and active and growing and a vital part of our community. And so for this, we are extremely thankful. And so it is. I'd like to call Shelley up to give us a little closing meditation.
I'd like for each of you to sit comfortably in your chair, close your eyes. And the intention for today's meditation is listening to our guides. I'd like you to reflect back to the point I stated earlier, and that is that each of us has a guide. You can call it a soul guide, a spirit guide, whatever is comfortable with you. Our guides are always with us, guiding us when we need and when we want their guidance. I'd like you to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, just release your thoughts for now. Stay centered. Our guides have complete, unconditional love for us. They accept us as our divine souls, and they accept us in our humanness. And our guides so want to help us, but we often forget to ask for their help. And I would like for you to take this opportunity, and I encourage you at this moment to ask your guides. Silently is fine because they communicate in all means, but ask your guides for challenge. It could be a relationship challenge. Ask your guide for help in that situation at this moment. Now, what's important about asking your guide for help is listening for the answer. And we get the answers in different means. Everyone is different. Some of us may hear a voice. Some of you will see a sign. Some have a sense of knowing. But many of us get a feeling in our gut. It's a gut feeling. Gut is spelled G-U-T, and it also stands for God's urgent tug. God is often tugging at you to listen. And as soon as you hear the answer, it could be now, the answer may come later. Simply be thankful for the guidance. If you only had a quick moment to do a prayer every day, the 2 words, thank you, are often sufficient. So I leave you with this thought, that our guides are always with us, always wanting to guide us, ask for their help, and listen for their guidance, and take that with you the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Just know with me that we are always guided, we are always supported, we are always sustained, we are always protected, we are always loved. And we align with this consciousness right now. We know there's no separation. We know that we are God expressing, so we are expressing love. We are expressing safety. We are expressing protection. We are expressing peace. We are expressing kindness. We are expressing compassion. That is how we live our lives. That is how we express our God through us and as us in every moment of every day. And I release this knowing it is so, it is done. God is orchestrating the details perfectly for and as each of us. And with great thanks, I say, and so it is. Let's have a closing service.
Peace, way,